Welcome back, guys. In this tutorial we're going to cover the Warp Modifier, and we're going to create an interesting animation in the process looking like this. It's like organic metal. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, so let me show you this modifier. So for example, you could select this cube, press tab, go into edit mode, right click, click subdivide, and let's just increase the subdivisions over here to 10. Press tab, go into object mode. This cube has many subdivisions, so now we go to our modifier, add modifier, and let's play with the warp modifier. Before we continue, let's press tab, go into edit mode, and let's press numpad 7 and press 3 to choose face select, and just choose a bunch of faces that we want to affect. Let's choose these faces over here. Go to our object data properties, create a vertex group, and click assign. Once you've done that, press tab, go into object mode, select the cube, go to your modifier properties, and we need to choose an object from, so we need a base. The way we create a base is to press shift A, shift A, empty, and let's use the plane axis as the base. Then press shift A, empty, and let's use, you can use any one of these. I'm just going to use an arrow, GZ2, rename this top, and rename the other empty base. One sec. BASE. All right, let's select this cube and choose base and choose top, and then select your group that we created, and let's select our base quickly and just lift it up a little bit. GZ, let's numpad 1, GZ1. Now it's perfectly on the line, and we can see this here. And perhaps this needs some more subdivisions. Put your subdivisions before your warp, and chuck it on 2, and maybe click apply, right click, shade smooth. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. And currently we can also, if we want this to be a little bit better, let's choose our base, numpad 1, press G, X, and just move it in the center here where it should be. Then select your top piece here and press G, X, and you can get it in shape. Now that we've got this weird shape, we can also animate this. Let's select our object. We could decide to bring it in and out depending on what we like. We could also mess with the radius, make it bigger, or we can make it a lot smaller depending on what you're going for. We can also change the shape. So if we want to make a sphere, perhaps we should put this on 1. If we want to create a sphere, we could do that, but this height is a little bit high. Let's press 1. We could also make it sharp, and you get the idea. We just change this and we get slightly different shapes. Alright, as fun as that is, let's delete everything we've just done. Press shift A, mesh, plane, S2 to scale it up, add modifier, subdivision surface modifier, simple. Let's chuck this on 6. Add modifier, warp modifier, shift A. First thing you want to do is add an empty for the base, and let's rename this base. Then you want to shift A, empty, and add 1 for the top, GZ1. Move it in a different spot, and then rename this top. Now select your plane and choose from the base to the top, and just like that we have this. Right click, shade smooth. And just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to add an environmental texture. Go to hdrhaven.com if you want to find one. I've already downloaded one, which is over here. Always takes a second to load. You can go to your render view to see if it's loaded in. And then the next thing we want to do is, alright, now go to your material settings, click new, And we're going to add a glossy material. And we're going to make this a gold and just change this to 0.15. That looks pretty cool. Now when we select this, we move this down and up, it's got a really cool effect. Nice, interesting warping effect. It's like an organic metal, as you can tell. Reminds me a bit of flubber. Alright, the next thing we can do is select this, go to our modifier properties, and we could adjust the strength over here. Put this back on 1, and we could change the fall off type. We might go smooth, we might go inverse, and you can choose any one of these to give you slightly different shapes. This one looks more like a nipple, sharp, but I'm going to leave this on smooth. I prefer that look, it just feels right. Alright, and then we can go to textures here and we can add a texture map as well. So let's add one. Go to your textures over here and we're going to add a noise texture, and this is where it gets really fun. But if you're adding this, I would highly recommend you click add modifier, subdivision surface, and you bring this above the warp so there's even more subdivision. Perhaps we want to put this on 2. The more subdivision, the smaller and spikier this gets, as you can tell. Let's go back to let's minimize the subdivisions. Go back to this, and we could increase the radius or make it small, which is quite cool. And could increase the strength. Could change the shape. There's quite a lot to do here. I'm going to leave it on smooth though. And you can also animate this, which is loads of fun. So you might start off on 0.1 and start the strength on 0.1, and you press I and I, go to keyframe 50, change this to 1, press I, change this to 1, press I. And just like that, let's go to keyframe 1 and we press spacebar. We've created this interesting animation. It's a weird organic metal. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I almost forgot, if you want a more organic look, you can just go to your texture materials, change from noise to clouds, and that already looks more organic. You can also check out what magic does. It all depends on the look you're going for. Go back to your modifier. This is we're currently using magic. If we go back to keyframe 1 and we press play, we can watch this grow, which is somewhat interesting, this organic warping. Let's end this, go back to keyframe 1, and let's change this now to clouds. Press spacebar, press play. And obviously when you select clouds, there's a lot more control you have over the size here. Let's pause. Let's type in 0.1. Or if you typed in 1, it would look like that. 0.1 is fine. And you could also play with the contrast for a slightly different effect. And I think you get the idea. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you in the next one.